preseason finale. Thank goodness. Thank the football god. Small G, as Jim Harbaugh used to say. That's coming up tomorrow night. You can hear that game here. Our next guest, it's easy for me to say he's a great football writer. You may know that if you read his stuff. But look at this. Let me just go to The Athletic here and look at the most recent thing that he wrote. Vic Tafur is our guest here. And I just scrolled down to the comments, okay? Here's the first ones that are up here, Drapes. Yeah. Luigi says, Vic remains the reason I keep my subscription to The Athletic. He's the best of the best writers. The next one, Michael S. This is a factual statement. Viva la Vic. Then you have a guy named Michael. 100%. Great work, Vic. And we go on and on here. He's an outstanding football writer. It's a privilege to welcome him to the show. Vic Tafur, how are you today, Vic?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. Do you know those people that gave you those glowing reviews, or is that legit?
I can't tell you that, man. That's up to your imagination.
Well, thanks for your time, Vic. We know it. Thank goodness, as I said, the preseason ends tomorrow. As far as the quarterback situation with the Raiders, would the Raiders liked to have seen Aiden O'Connell win that job?
Yeah, I think ideally he was a guy. He started last year. I think started 10 games. The plan was he get better. Incumbent starter and knows Devontae Adams pretty well. He was took the job and run with it, but it didn't really happen. They brought in Gardner Minshew, kind of an insurance policy, an expensive one, $15 million guaranteed. And Gardner's a veteran guy. He's got a little more running ability, can scramble, get out of trouble a little more than Aiden can. So they went with him, and we'll see how that goes.
Vic Tafur joining us. Vic, when it's all said and done, will we look back on this quarterback-heavy draft and say, what the hell were the Raiders thinking? Will this come back to bite them at all?
I'm not sure, because I'm not sure what they could have done. I mean, they loved the top three guys, but the top three guys weren't going to go anywhere. Those top three teams wanted those guys, and so they weren't available. And then the next three, who knows? Michael Penix got they traded up for him pretty high. That wasn't going to happen for the Raiders. And Bo Nix, I'm not sure he's the answer, but I know the Broncos are high on him because they have no choice. So I'm not really sure what they could have done in hindsight.
Vic Tafur with us, covers the Raiders for The Athletic, outstanding writer. Vic, we were talking a couple days ago about your piece on Gardner Minshew, and like a lot of people, I've always been a fan. To me, he seems kind of like an old school Raider. Well, what do you make? What is your opinion of that story that you shared about him trying to break his hand when he was at East Carolina in order to maintain some eligibility? What did you think of that story?
I love that story, man. To me, it shows a guy who, he said he loves football and he wanted to play, and he kind of was going to waste a year of eligibility, so he's trying to figure out what he can do. You're a young guy. You're not the smartest guy in the world. Some of the ideas in hindsight are not great, but at the time, you're like, hey, I'm going to break my hand. I'll get an extra year. This is great. How do I go about it? And you're like, well, do I put it in the car door and slam it? Sounds kind of tough. I'll try the hammer. So you get the Jack Daniels, and you take a swig, and you take 3 swings at it, and it turns out you took 9 swings at it, and you couldn't break it. But I admire the effort. I admire the initial plan, not the follow through, but the initial plan. I can't fault it.
Yeah.
Hey, Vic, when you look at the roster too, man, you look at I like their wide receiver core, obviously, with Devontae, and I'm a Jacoby Myers guy. We know about the defense with Max. Is the quarterback position, will that be ultimately where this season rests, whether Gardner Minshew can be the guy and whether or not they make noise depends on the quarterback?
Pretty much. I think the defense is going to be the key for the season. The defense has to be great, which I think they are. They got Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, and decent guys behind them. I think the job for Gardner Minshew is just get those playmakers the ball and don't turn it over, and then they should be able to hopefully get enough points to make some wins. I think, and you mentioned the quarterback question earlier. I think the key guy there is Brock Bowers. The Raiders got Brock Bowers could be a dynamic player. So if he is, then maybe getting one of those quarterbacks wasn't so bad.
Vic Tafur with us. Vic, based on the way things look right now, I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but what do you expect the strength of this Raider team to be, and where do you think they have the most concern?
Yeah, the strength is the defensive line. I mentioned Wilkins and Crosby. Malcolm Kuntz is in a contract year. He's going to get paid in the offseason. They also got Tyree Wilson, last year's first-round pick, who's kind of still a work in progress. They got some guys, good depth in the D-line, so that should be the strength of the team. The question mark is the quarterback spot, and I guess the winning game also. I mean, Zamir White looked good last year, but now he's got to fill Josh Jacobs' shoes, and those are big shoes to fill.
Hey, Vic, when I look at the division, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs, we know what they're about. But could the Raiders be the second-best team in the AFC West?
Yeah, I would think so. I think the Chargers, obviously got Harbaugh, but
Yeah.
That's going to be a whole new culture, installation. And is that going to happen overnight? I'm not sure, but they should be better than the Chargers, I think. And the Broncos were very good last year.
Yeah.
And again, I know Bo Nix is having a great preseason, but I'm not a big preseason guy, so I'm not going to wait and see. So I think second place is definitely a very doable goal for the Raiders.
What would you say is the biggest difference you've seen so far that Antonio Pierce has made in the Raiders since taking over there, Vic?
I'd say it's just my 15th year doing this. I think it's probably the closest in terms of the team's been as far as unified front and guys getting along and kind of the chemistry and all kind of pulling for the same cause. So there's no hidden agenda. I think it was the coaching staff as well. I think everyone's on the same page. Just kind of again, I'm not sure the talent's there. I'm not sure the quarterback is there, but as far as the team being ready to go and compete and kind of the teammates and all be on the same page and kind of die for each other, they're on the right track.
Vic, on paper, are they better than 8 and 9 last year?
I think a little bit. I think it's now, kind of the quarterback stuff is a big question mark, and I'm not sure what the future of Davante Adams is going to be if they got to a slow start. So I have them for 9 wins, somewhere in that ballpark. But yeah, I think they're definitely better defensively.
This is going to be year 5 of the Raiders in Vegas. To what extent, Vic, would you say that the city has fully embraced the Raiders?
Yeah, Sac's kind of a half hug, kind of like one of those bro hugs, kind of up to the side. I think they want to see some wins, and that's they want to see some wins. The team hasn't won yet, and I think there's been a lot of false starts. But you go to the home games, there's mostly opposing teams' fans. So I think until they win on a regular basis, Vegas won't get totally behind them and totally be on board.
Okay. Hey, Vic, how do you see the landscape of the AFC? Is it still the Chiefs and everybody else, or might somebody knock them off this year?
Yeah, I think it's the Chiefs. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, the Jets have a great team. If Aaron Rodgers can be healthy and be himself, then they're probably going to be a threat. But I think the Chiefs are still in the driver's seat.
Vic Tafur with us. One of my favorite things to read in The Athletic is when you do your predictions and you pick against the spread. Looking forward to that. Do you have a pick for the league's surprise team this year? We've been asking our football guests that. Washington's gotten some mention. I think Arizona got a mention.
Yeah, Arizona.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
How about you, Vic? And I know you're focused on the Raiders now, but do you have an idea, a guess of who'd be the surprise team in the NFL this year?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I'm going to go with good young defense, got some talent there, new coach. I think he has a good frame to work with. I think Geno Smith was kind of didn't have a bad year last year, but look at his last year. I think they kind of were a little harsh on him. Has a great receiving core. And has a good running back. So I think Seattle's going to be a surprise.
Ooh. Oh, Vic Tafur joining us. First for Seattle, right? I think a lot of people think they're regressing, right? Slipping back. When you look at that division, the Rams finishing second and the Niners first. Vic, if you will, when you look at some of the other teams, Baltimore, for instance, I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but we saw what happened to him in the playoffs last year. Same thing with Josh Allen. I'm a big Josh Allen fan, but we saw he's not been able to get over the hump. Are we seeing sort of a changing of the guard, if you will? Sure, you have the Chiefs, but now you got the C.J. Strouds of the world coming up, whether it's Trevor Lawrence coming up as well. Are we seeing a changing of the guard where the windows may be closing for like an Allen or a Jackson or somebody like that?
Nah, you lost me at Trevor Lawrence. I haven't seen anything of Trevor Lawrence so far, but I think Josh Allen's going to have a big year. I think they're also kind of slept on a little bit. I know they lost to Son Diggs, but they got some good young talent. I think he's my guy for MVP this year, Josh Allen. I think it's 8-1. So I'm a big Josh Allen guy this year. I think the old guard will still make a stand this year. I think guys like Joe Burrow is going to bounce back. I think it'll be a big competitive AFC, but I still think the Chiefs are probably the best team.
Before we let you go, Vic, update us on Davante Adams. You think he'll be there the rest of the year? How's he feeling about the overall operation there?
Yeah, it totally depends. If they start off with the first half of the year, the winning record, I think he'll be here the rest of the year. If not, it makes no sense because he's due to make $36 million next year in salary. They're not going to do that. It needs a new deal, and they don't really want to do that unless they're on the same page. So I think if they have to lose any record, he'll be traded by a deadline.
Thank you, Vic. We appreciate it very much. Hope to talk to you again soon.
All right, boys. Take care.
All right. Enjoy the game tomorrow night, if such a thing is possible. There I go again. Chris the mom said, hey, enjoy the game. You're right. Preseason football.
We got our starters, though. We got some starters. Niners got some starters out there.
Right.
We had to watch that for first quarter or so.
Got some guys trying to make the team. How about that Seattle? Some people I'd say, ha, ha, ha. But when Vic says, Seattle, this team's going to be good, all right.
I got to do a deep dive then. What am I missing? Seattle, I feel like they're pure nosediving, right? Going the other way.
Yeah. I mean, he follows it very closely. He puts his money where his mouth is and does pretty well with his picks.
Yeah.
When we come back, we haven't talked about Tua and Coach Flores, have we? Was Tua out of line? Taking a look at quarterbacks who have the most legit coaching gripes, whether we've heard from them or not.